Hi guys, in this episode of Decay, I am excited to be reacting to DREAMCATCHER's new song, Bon Voyage. This is the third song in their most recent album trilogy, Apocalypse, with this one in particular being called From Us. And I'm also very excited to check out the album as well, which is something I'm going to be doing in one of the next few videos. So you don't have to ask me to do it or request me or demand me to do it. I will be doing it. But before that, we obviously have to get into the title track. And I'm genuinely really excited to get into this because I'm curious to see in what direction they're going to go with this one compared to the last two, Mason and Vision. Because I honestly like Mason and Vision both quite a lot. I feel like I've had issues with both of those songs one way or another, some minor things like some nitpicks. And yes, I still in many ways feel like the best era of DREAMCATCHER's music was around the time of You and I, What, and all those songs. And I guess I still like Odai the most, so it's not like these songs are like my favorite of DREAMCATCHER's, but I do enjoy them quite a lot. And I'm curious to see how they're gonna wrap up the trilogy, because I assume it's gonna be a wrap up for the trilogy. And I honestly feel like we should just kind of get into it and see where we're gonna go with it, and then I guess I'm gonna talk more about it. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the song Bon Voyage in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's a surprising beginning, I'll give you that. Ooh, that's an interesting instrumental. Okay. This is the most different one out of the three for sure. Also, I feel like it's the most different DREAMCATCHER song as well. For a title track, that is. Man, she looks so good with the short hair. Okay. It definitely feels like a kind of a halfway point between what DREAMCATCHER typically does and something a little bit more general population appealing. I guess that explains some posts on Reddit that I read talking about this. I definitely will need a second listen for this one though to really get my bearings on it, because I did not expect it to go in this direction. Like, you can still tell that this is like DREAMCATCHER, but it's definitely different from their typical music as well. I also kind of appreciate that this music video has less CGI compared to the last two. It feels a little refreshing. Okay. Interesting, man. I think I kind of like this. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. It's kind of hard to really decide how I feel about it right on the first listen. Like, I definitely need a second one. Because on the first listen alone, like I said, it feels really weird because it sounds so unlike Dreamcatcher that I'm used to. Like, yeah, there was obviously even a shift in the sound of Dreamcatcher, as any group does shift their sound as they keep on going. With this trilogy of albums, there was a noticeable shift in sound. Again, I wasn't necessarily like the biggest fan of Mason or Vision, but I enjoy them. They're good songs, and I've listened to them quite a lot. But I'm not quite sure whether I like this much of a shift, to see this much of a shift with Dreamcatcher, you know? And it's like, I kinda like the way it sounds. Like, I feel like it feels refreshing compared to the last two title tracks. I feel like it feels refreshing because it's not just regurgitating the same concept, but with just a slightly different song and I guess song structure maybe even. I don't know, but because like Mason and Vision feel very similar. They feel like the two sides of the same coin. Whereas this feels like, honestly, a completely different album. Like, it doesn't really feel like it's part of the same series of albums or whatever. Like, it feels as different from Vision and Mason as Vision and Mason felt compared to something like Odai and Scream, you know? That's kind of what I mean. And I honestly wouldn't mind another song like this because I feel like, and that may be just because I've only listened to it once, but I feel like they didn't really go quite as far with this idea for this sound and style as I feel like they should have, because I honestly enjoyed it. I think I do enjoy it. It's just still a little bit hard for my brain to kind of accept the fact that this is Dreamcatcher, you know? Because it's so unlike them, I feel like. It kind of reminds me a little bit, at least the ending part where it kind of goes a little bit harder, and everything, it kind of reminds me a little bit of 80s, which makes sense because they share some of the same producers, or shared, I don't know what's the current situation at this point. But it makes sense why it's gonna give off that vibe, and I feel like this is the most 80s song that Dreamcatcher has done, so there's that. Which is funny because I feel like the last 80s song kind of felt like very Dreamcatcher-esque in some ways. It was very dramatic. That's the main thing that kind of makes it feel very Dreamcatcher-esque, but whatever. I do like the sound. I do, I guess, kind of like how much singing there is, but at the same time, it's like I'm kind of split in two minds about it. Like, part of me, the part that is like a big fan of Dreamcatcher, is kind of bothered by the fact that it doesn't quite feel as much of a Dreamcatcher song as I wish it would. But the other side of me, which is just a general K-pop fan, is perfectly satisfied with this song because it's a catchy song, it's hard-hitting, it's energetic, it's memorable, it's stylish, it's a good song. It's just that those two parts have completely different goals and interests when it comes to what a K-pop song should be. And it's like, it's again one of those moments where I kind of struggle to decide whether I am okay with groups switching up and experimenting with their sound, or whether I would just prefer for them to do the same thing, because while it can get old, and sometimes I do want a group to try something new, because who knows, it might actually be really cool and I would end up really liking it. At the same time, whenever a group does stray away from their sound, it just kind of bothers me, and it makes me miss what their sound used to be. I feel like the biggest reason why that's the case is because just the groups don't really telegraph when they're gonna be doing the final song in a certain style. Because it's like, if this was just like the other two songs and then they did this kind of style for their next album or extended play or whatever it may be, I think I wouldn't have this kind of split mind about it. But because this is still part of this trilogy, yet it doesn't sound anything like Vision and Mason. It just kind of feels out of nowhere, and I think that's why it kind of bothers me so much. But yeah, I've said a lot. We still obviously need to listen to it a second time before I say my final thoughts. So without further ado, let's get into Bon Voyage. Once again, in 3, 2, 1. And if they're attempting to appeal like to more of a general audience, I'm okay with it. It still feels Dreamcatcher enough for me, but yeah. It just feels a little watered down, I guess. That's the thing, if this song was by any other girl group, it would be one of their best. For Dreamcatcher, it's good, but I feel like we've gotten much better songs from their proper style of music. Not this. I swear their music videos are just getting better and better visually, man. There's so many shots to pick for a thumbnail. I love the chorus, that's for sure. You guys already know what I'm gonna pick for a thumbnail, what I picked for a thumbnail, but I'm still kind of struggling to decide. So many beautiful shots. Yeah, the instrumental of this song is the most unlike Dreamcatcher that I've ever heard from them, especially on a title track. This is a banging chorus though. Might be the best chorus out of the 3 songs in this, of the 3 title tracks in this trilogy. I love Sua's smoothie colored hair. This part slaps so hard. Dude, I love this part so much. This is so much more epic than it has any right to be, if I gotta be honest. Man, even after the second listen, I'm still kind of in 2 minds about it. I think I'm ultimately gonna stick with it's a good song, and I'm just not really gonna hold anything against it. Like, at the end of the day, whatever I feel about it, it's not really gonna affect the group in the sense that they're not gonna change a direction that they've chosen to go with their music just because I don't like it. So I don't think it really matters too much whether I miss the fact the sound that they did with the last 2 songs or not. I think it kind of doesn't matter too much. So I'm just kind of gonna go and try to ignore that, I guess. Like, yeah, ultimately, I do wish they kind of did at least one of those songs just to kind of feel the satisfaction of just having these 3 songs in that style and then shifted into this kind of style. But it's already done, so it doesn't really matter too much. So, I'm not gonna judge the song basically for what it's not. I'm gonna judge it for what it is. And for what it is, it's honestly pretty epic. Based on the verses alone, I don't really care too much about them. So, for me, the most entertaining part of the song is definitely the chorus, where it goes into more like typical hard-hitting Dreamcatcher-y kind of thing. Like, the verses are, for me, kind of the weakest part. Not because they're bad, I think they're actually really good, and like I said, if it was any other girl group, this would be one of the best songs and the best verses and everything. But for me, when it comes to Dreamcatcher songs, I feel like I'm used to more compelling verses. And I feel like the verses in this song are a little bit too slow, and just not compelling for me to really enjoy. And I feel like that is not necessarily a bad thing, because I think it helps with the chorus hitting as hard as it does, but it does kind of make the song really, it makes me not really care about the song until we actually get to the exciting chorus, so there's that as well. But yeah, I do enjoy it quite a lot. I love the epic vibe that it has. It really reminds me of the kind of vibe that I get from 80s comebacks, and it does kind of give me that vibe of leveling up that 80s comebacks tend to do. So I think this is ultimately a success for me. It's a good song, you know? And in terms of a rating for this one, I am not quite sure. I'm kind of split somewhere between 9.5 and a 10 out of 10. I think I'm gonna go with a 10 out of 10 because I think they killed it in terms of what they were trying to do. I think they nailed it. There's nothing really bad about this song. There's nothing that I feel like they failed to achieve with what they were going for. But in a more, I guess, accurate or personal or whatever you want to call it kind of rating, it's more of a 9.5 out of 10 because, like I said, the verses are a little weaker than I'm used to from Dreamcatcher. They don't really manage to keep my attention as much, nor do they feel quite as memorable. But I do want to make it clear that thing about the verses is a nitpick, so don't think too much about it. But yeah, I am excited though to get into some of the B-sides of this album, which we're going to be doing in the next video. But I'm hoping that there's going to be, I guess, something more along the lines of what I hoped or expected this comeback was going to be, like this title track was going to be. But I guess I'm going to have to get into that in the next video and find out then. And so will you guys have to do that. But yeah, before we end this video though, I do want to ask you, what do you guys think about this song? So, comment thoughts down below, let's have a discussion about this. And also, I want to give a huge shout out to my currently 5 patrons on Patreon. Omar Bridgman, Deadpool, Corby Dead, Dane Harty, and Peyton Jones. Thank you guys for your support, I really appreciate it, it really means a lot to me. You have decided to support me, you have continued to support me for such a long time. Hope you continue to enjoy my content and continue to support me going forward. Thank you very much. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description to my Wattpad, where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you enjoy my stories, or simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon, or to my Ko-fi account, where you can pledge your support, and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do any of that, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!